Are you looking for a fun, quick, easy RPG to play? Then Soulshards might be the RPG for you. This is our Soulshards beta review, so let's get started. Soulshards is a tabletop RPG that is D12 based. And one of the things that you'll notice very quickly within diving into this is that the setting is extremely important to the rest of the rules. The setting is really important to this game. The mechanics are specifically tuned based on the setting itself. If you plan on running this game, you will want to give a brief idea of what your players can expect within the setting, as it's going to impact their characters tremendously. Now, again, I think this system could be really good with the right person running it, okay? Now, in this game, rather than calling it a dungeon master or a game master, they call it a soul weaver. And the soul weaver is the one who's going to tie everything together and present the scenarios for the players to work through. The soul shards are the biggest element of the game. Soul shards are dodecahedron shapes that are weightless, and they come in a variety of colors based on the emotions of the soul from which they are pulled. These are used for magic. Also, they are the most common form of currency when you're traveling into different towns and making purchases. In these towns, some might accept coins and things like that, but the best form of currency is these soul shards. A group of 100 shards is referred to as a soul, but a full soul makes up many more than 100 shards. Also, just a little side note, if your players decide they want to eat a soul shard, well, they're going to get really sick and they're not going to gain anything from it in a positive sense. Seriously, that's what the book says. In the setting, there are 4 places of power. To me, this seems a little bit limiting, and I think it would be cool if it was left a little more open for possibly some more places, to be honest. I like the explanation they provide as to why these are the places of power. It seems like you would probably have your biggest power struggles in the world centered around these things. Also, not going to lie, the World Tree gave me the Avatar movie Disney vibes, you know, with like the big giant blue avatars and stuff. The World Tree definitely reminds me of that. So the 4 places of power are the World Tree, the Falls of Life, the Floating Isles, and Spirit Mountain. The Falls of Life are waterfalls. The Floating Isles are rock civilizations that are up in the sky. So like imagine like a floating castle on top of a rock in the air. It's kind of like that. Typically that's where like the angels and stuff would live. Spirit Mountain is actually a volcano. So yeah, you kind of get why that would be powerful. The how gameplay works section, I thought was okay. I think they could have done a lot better job of portraying some of the rules by showing examples. A couple things in there were a little bit tricky that I had a hard time grasping what they meant, and I think that could definitely clear that up. However, I do want to say the rules seem extremely simple. You know, just those couple little rules clarifications with an example would definitely make a world of difference. And I think it would be an easy game to pick up and play within, you know, just glancing over this section, to be honest, as long as you have the examples. On one hand, some things are just about beating a base difficulty level, or some of you who play other games might know of it as a DC or a target number. So that seems simple right there on the surface. But the way it works is when you're trained, you'll have different tiers in something, right? So say, I don't know, we'll just you'll have a target number of say an 8, and you're a tier 2. You're going to roll 2 d12s because you're tier 2. And you're going to take the highest number to beat the target difficulty. If you aren't trained, it's just half. You're going to have a half of what you roll on a d12. So some difficulties are going to be impossible to beat because of that. You're also going to add modifiers and things like that as well. But yeah, as you can see, this is going to be really easy to grasp. And the more trained you are, you could end up with, say, a tier 4, a tier 5 in something. And that's going to help as well. The damage and healing rolls seemed a little confusing. It isn't just roll and add up the total. It becomes a dice pool based on the tier of your skill, just like I explained before. and any die result of 6 or higher on those equals 1. So again, I thought that was a little counterintuitive to what I'm used to. I think after playing this for a little bit, it would be completely fine. Character creation has a ton of options and is actually pretty straightforward. You're going to get to choose what your species is. You're going to get to put different points into different skills so that you have higher tiers and things like that. And, ultimately, it's not going to be too bad. You're going to be able to make almost any character you can think of within the confines of this. Some of the species are dragons or pixies, you have all sorts of different ones. One of the things that I think people are really going to like is the customization of their characters, though. I think that's going to be a huge selling point for them, and players are going to have a lot of fun. When you get into equipment, there's quite a bit of stuff. For instance, you can differentiate the specific types of clothing you want. There's like furniture table, like you can buy all sorts of stuff in this game. And for a game that I think is really simple to pick up and play, I just didn't see the need for all of these different items in the equipment section. I think for some people, they're going to love it. I just don't think it's going to be used by most people. And so that was kind of a put off because I'm like flipping through pages. I'm like, wow, I got furniture now. Oh, here's clothes. Oh, it's the difference of being like an aristocrat and something else. Like, I just didn't feel the need to have the differences of clothing, especially since there's not really a mechanical benefit to that. It's more just flavor in between the two. The abilities and spells you're going to get in this game, there's so many different ones. When I was doing the flip through, I was stopping at quite a few. And there's some really cool ones that I almost wish were in other games. So again, you're going to have tons of options if that's your bag. And I think that definitely is something that players are going to love. I think if you are somebody who's very into reading this kind of thing, that section alone, you're going to spend hours looking at. So again, I think that's awesome. And you could tell throughout this, they put a ton of thought into what they wanted this game to be, how they wanted you to experience the game at the table. And I think they did a good job. So now the things that I would like to see them adjust or change with the final version, because I think the setting is so important to this game, I think that it is imperative that they add more information about the setting, specific cities, specific settlements, cultures, things like that. I would like more of that. As it stands right now, there's only a few pages about the setting, and I don't know if there's a plan to do another book, that can be released alongside it or something. I don't know. But I feel like the setting needs to have more information. I also would like to see a map. I know art's coming in the final version, and hopefully they're going to have a world map. Hopefully they're going to add, again, to the setting, maybe include some important characters to the setting. Again, show some examples of how to play the game within how the gameplay works, and show off the different things. Show off how it works if you're doing an opposed roll. Show off damage and healing. Show off just in general doing your skill rolls and stuff. Again, I think examples say a lot more than paragraphs of text personally, and I think it will also make a lot more sense for at least half the people out there, right? Because everyone learns in their own ways. I love the fact that they've tied in the mechanics to the setting with the D12 and the soul shards. I kind of like that. I thought that was kind of neat. I love the amount of creatures and species there are. But again, I would like to see more story behind it, more setting information behind it. I think that can go a long way. I think ultimately this is a fun game. This is a good game to play. I think as a player, I would really enjoy it. As a DM, I think it would be cool too. I would probably take liberties, add more places of power. I would probably, increase the epicness of how it feels. It sounds like there's opportunity for that within the setting, but again, the book doesn't elaborate on anything like anything. In fact, at the end of the setting stuff, it almost sounds like you're in a time of peace to start the game. The very last sentence of so under Myth of Creation, the very last paragraph, I'm just going to read this real quick. During the Long War of Magic, new sentient species, including humans, orcs, and dwarves, were born fully of the mortal realm and became known as the Born of Nature. They witnessed the power of the earlier arrivals and stayed hidden until the War of Magic concluded. The Fae mostly ignored these lesser beings. For numerous as they became, they did not encroach on the lands the Fae had claimed. For a time, there was peace. So it almost sounds like there's peace. Obviously, there's creatures in waiting, but it sounds like there's nothing to really worry about, right? So that's 2 full pages. And then it gets into the other world, where it does talk about soul shards, and basically other world is like afterlife, right? And then it did places of power, which is like half a page. So again, it tells you stuff about the setting, but again, it does not tell you enough. And so I would like to see a lot more time and effort put into the setting. There's stuff under each creature, like what they look like, what they're referenced as, things like that. You got humans, goblins, insect fused. Again, I love the species. I really love it. I would love to see more setting information. That's the thing that is going to put this over the top. Right now, the book is 232 pages. I think you got to add setting information. I think this book, when it's done, to be top notch, like to really hit it out of the park, for a final release, I think you're talking about 275 pages minimum. Because again, you're going to add art, which is going to space things out. I don't know how the formatting is going to change it, but you're going to also want to have a map. And again, I think you got to add stuff to the Soul Weaver section. I think you need to add examples and add to the setting. Those 3 things will really help. So that was my review of Soul Shards, the beta version. I think it's really, really good so far. I think it has some steps to go to be top notch, and we'll see what happens. But again, I want to thank you guys over there for asking me to do this. I was really excited to do this. I think you guys have done a lot of good work, and I would love to see where it goes. So keep me updated. If you guys want to see more about this game, maybe as they release it, please leave us a comment below. Come talk about it on our Discord, all that good stuff. Ask me about it on Twitter, all that. Would love to hear your thoughts about this. Are you interested in picking this up? You can get the beta version PDF and the physical book over on Drive-Thru RPG. So if you're interested, go check that out. This was Master the Game. I am Juice. Game on.